Hello, hello. It is Wednesday night. It is 9 p.m. And that means it is time for Food Addiction Fair and Firm. And I am Dr. Connie Stapleton looking for my friends. And I am excited because there's Mallory. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Connie. Hi. It's so good to see you guys. I was just looking for my friends, and here you are. Hi, Maria and Elaine. Oh my goodness. I'm very happy now. Hi, Debbie. It's Wednesday night. Do you see it is getting dark behind me? But what a beautiful sky, right? Trina and Terry and Jessica and Nadia. Hi, 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 friends. I'm so glad to see you all. All right, I'm going to move around in my chair just a minute here, stabilize things a little bit. Okay, there. Now hopefully things won't be turning around and rushing around. Hi, Marta. You guys, I missed you all. Oh my gosh. So as you know, I was away and I was in Greece, and I feel very blessed that I got to go to Greece. And I was there actually on a bariatric trip. I went to IFSO, and if you guys don't know what IFSO is, hi Yvonne, hi Yates, hi Crystal, hi Shelley, hi Terry. IFSO is the International Federation for the Surgical Treatment of Obesity, and it's a big medical conference. And I was very grateful because I got to speak at it this year. And of course, you know what I spoke about? Addiction, right? It's what I always speak about because I am passionate about our healing from our addictions. And we can heal from our addictions. And we do join programs of recovery from our addictions. And you are the people to spread the word, right? So welcome, welcome. I want to thank Yvonne, first of all, for hosting the show for me 2 weeks ago, which is when I left. Yvonne, I so appreciate you. You always do a great job. And you are just an amazing woman who has been in recovery from food addiction for a long, long, long time. And so you're a great spokesperson for recovery from food addiction. And last week, we had Kelly Gunter. So if you guys don't know Kelly Gunter, Kelly is 16 years post-op too, right along with that same time frame as Yvonne. So we got some people who know what it's like, right? Who've been down that road. Hi, Sherry Ann. So welcome in. Please hit that share button right now so that we can get our friends here joining us, because we're going to start part 3 tonight of the protection plan, right? We have to protect ourselves if we're going to be successful. If you've got a food addiction, it's no good going into this thing. Hi, Sherry Ann. Hi, Yvonne. Yes. Thank you, Kelly and Yvonne, so much for taking charge while I was gone. Really appreciate it. Okay, did you hit your share button? We're ready to rock and roll. We have been talking about having a protection plan, because if you've got a food addiction, you can't just go out there and wing it. Or even if you don't have a food addiction, but you've been struggling with weight up and down, up and down, up and down, and your weight's just been a nightmare for a lot of your life, then don't think you can just go out there like you've done it in the past. Because if you always do what you always did, you finish the sentence, you always get what you always got, right? So if you're going to go out there and just do what you did before, chances are you're going to end up with regain, and that is what we are working to avoid. So the 2 weeks before I left, we started talking about a prevention plan, a protection plan. And remember, we're talking about setting limits. We're talking about setting boundaries. We're talking about keeping ourselves safe. Because if you have children, or if you have grandchildren, or if you've ever been around children, you set boundaries for them to keep them safe. Yeah, they were great, weren't they, Mary? So we set boundaries to keep people safe. You have bedtimes for kids because you want to protect them so they have enough sleep for school. If you have young children, you put them in car seats. And even if they protest, it's like, we're doing this because my job is to keep you safe. So as a recovering addict, we have got to work on having a plan to keep you safe. Safe from what? Well, we talked last time about triggers, right? Got to keep yourself safe from food triggers. So I don't have the sheet ready for tonight for part 3, but you're going to have it tomorrow. So hang in there. We'll do this without a worksheet tonight, but you will have one coming. If you haven't gotten your worksheets for part 1 and 2, they are free. They're available. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Laura. They are on my website, which is ConnieStapletonPhD.com. So we're going to talk about setting up this protection plan, right? You've got to protect yourself. So the first part of that, who remembers what the very first part of this was? You got to keep in mind your why. Keep in mind your recovery motive, your reasons for doing what you're doing, your reasons for losing weight, your reasons for keeping or for having weight loss surgery, your reasons for addressing your food addiction, your reasons for wanting to maintain a healthy weight for your body, whatever that is. I call these your meaningful matters. What matters to you most in your life? Is it your family? Is it your health? Is it getting off medication? Is it having more energy? That was part number 1, identifying your meaningful matters. If you don't keep in the forefront of your mind the reason you're doing this, it's real easy to get off track and fall into the stinking thinking, right? The why bothers, the oh my God, I'm too tired, the what difference does it make anyway? We're not going there. We have to protect ourselves from stinking thinking, and we do that as well by keeping in mind our meaningful matters. Then, when we know what our meaningful matters are, our why, we can judge everything against that. For example, if I skip the gym, is that going to move me closer to or further from what I say is important to me, what I say is meaningful to me? If I indulge in, these half a dozen donuts, is it going to move me closer to or further from what I say is meaningful and matters the most to me? So the first step, the part 1 of 4 in your protection plan is, of course, identifying your meaningful matters. So have you guys done that? Meaningful matters fall by the wayside over time. Must remember them. Trina, you are so right. So that's why, we have note sections on our phones. We have screensavers. We have sticky notes. We have, lipstick to write on our mirrors. Do whatever it is you've got to do, but keep those meaningful matters front and center. Hi, Donna. Welcome. Trina, thank you for posting that because that is so darn important. So make sure you review your meaningful matters all the time. If you guys have ever read, you probably haven't, but if you've ever read a lot of self-help books, like business books or whatever, they talk about setting goals and reviewing those goals and reviewing those goals and reviewing those goals and writing them down, because there's a lot of power in writing things down and in reviewing them. Because you're so right, Trina, that if we don't review them and look them over, we're going to forget about them. So write down your meaningful matters, get that worksheet, and do the darn thing. It's only going to take you about 10 minutes. Now, I'm going to ask you while we're here, hit your share button, because we want people to see this. We want to help others. So you've hit your share button. You've gone in. You've gotten your worksheets for part 1 and part 2. You've identified your meaningful matters. Those are crucial. Then we talked about step 2. We talked about step 2 being identifying your relapse triggers. So relapse triggers, relapse is a very big word. Whatever, your danger zones, your, call them whatever you want, but they're things that send you most readily, most easily to your destructive behaviors, whether it's eating or alcohol or drugs or shopping or hoarding or sex or pornography or social media or hiding in a book for 6 hours or watching television for 8 hours. That's not how we want to spend our life, because that's not living fully. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little secret, a little indulgence I engaged in the other day. Usually, when I'm on an airplane, I love it because it's quiet time. My laptop and me, we're good friends, and I get a ton of work done. I can get more work done on an airplane, like 10 times as much as I get done anywhere else. Well, so I have this really super long flight, right? Like we're in the airplane for like, I don't know, 11 hours at a crack, and then maybe another 3 hour flight. So I was like, I'm going to get so dang much done. In fact, my plan was I was going to work on starting the sequel to Weight Loss Surgery Does Not Treat Food Addiction, that little book. And that little book, hi Sharon, hi Karen, hi Ashley, hi Elizabeth and Denise. My next book is going to be called Treating Your Food Addiction. So I was like, I'm going to get a huge start on this book because my goal is to have that book out and published and ready for purchase by the end of this calendar year. So I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have so much time to write. You know what I did? Because the little outlet in the airplane didn't work and my computer died in a big darn hurry, I watched 5 movies in a row. I don't even watch TV because it's just a waste of my time most of the time, except for, of course, The Young and the Restless. That was my great indulgence the other day. And I couldn't even hardly feel guilty about it because what was I going to do, right? Awesome movies, too. I'll tell you about them in a little while. But let's go back to identifying your triggers. That was the worksheet number 2, step 2 of 4. So triggers are things that in the past, but now that you're developing awareness, right, you are better about not automatically going to emotional eating. So people can be triggers, memories can be triggers. There are biological triggers, the smell of the movie popcorn or Auntie Anne's pretzels or, whatever it is, smells, places, billboards, all of those things can be triggers. So the ones that are the most difficult for you, you have to identify them, and then you have to have things you can do in order to help you refrain from going there, right? All right, so tonight we're moving on to the 3rd step. Oh, we also talked about warning signs, right? Halt. If you're hungry, if you're angry, if you're lonely, or if you're tired, those are signals to you that you need to be particularly careful not to set yourself up for triggers. So if you're angry, don't go to the grocery store. If you're hungry, for God's sake, don't go to the grocery store. If you're lonely, don't go to the drugstore where the candy aisle is at the checkout counter. If you're too tired, stay away from the break room. Set yourself up for success. Start to identify if I'm too hungry, too angry, too lonely, too tired. Halt. Stop. Don't go there. Stay away from those places that are easy triggers for you. I know that makes sense. All right, so now we're going to move on to the next step. And this is about those things that I talk about all the time. Feelings, right? This is so important when we're talking about recovery from any kind of addiction, because feelings are kind of at the heart of addiction. Feelings, hi Donna, hi Nancy, hi Shelley. Feelings are what we want to avoid a lot of times. So if you're angry and you don't like being angry, maybe you got the message that anger wasn't okay, or maybe you're afraid of anger, or maybe you're just uncomfortable. Hi Francis, hi Michelle. Maybe sad is really uncomfortable for you. And so what you have learned maybe over the years is that if you're experiencing a feeling that you want to stay away from for whatever reason, you turn to food, or you turn to alcohol, or you turn to shopping, or you turn to whatever it is to avoid these feelings. The reasons we avoid feelings are numerous. It may be that you learned that feelings weren't permitted in your home. It may be that, you were made fun of because you cried too often. It may be that you were told, If you're crying, let me give you something to cry about. All those stupid messages that we get, or for whatever reason we don't want to feel. Maybe we have been embarrassed or shamed for too long in our life and we just want to avoid all of that. Honestly, I think that the majority of the world spends we spend so much of our time avoiding ourselves. That's what we're really avoiding, right? Ourselves, our feelings, our thoughts, our negative self. We need to learn to just deal with ourselves and our feelings. Another reason that identifying feelings is so important, and this is what this step is all about, is because once we become comfortable with our feelings, guess what? We know what we need emotionally. So, oh gosh, it's really very complicated, but we're going to try to make it as simple as we can. All right. Many of us, right? I'm going to ask you some questions and fess up, right? If this is true for you. I don't like to ask for help. Is that true for you? Or I don't like to appear vulnerable. Or I want to make everybody else happy. It's so important. I just love making other people happy. Or I'm really uncomfortable if other people are uncomfortable. And so I do everything I can to make them feel better, whatever it is. Let me ask you this. Is it okay for other people to ask for help? Is it okay for other people to need your help? Is it okay for other people to have feelings? Is it okay for other people to reach out to say, I'm not sure how to do this. I've never been taught that. I'm ill-equipped. Is it okay for other people? I'm guessing you are saying, sure, it's okay. It's okay if you need help. Go ahead and ask for help. And yet, when we talk about, is it okay for you? It's like, oh, heck no, I can't ask for help. Double standard there, right? What makes it different for you to need help? Here's a news flash for you, friends. Spoiler alert. All adults need help at different times. All adults have feelings. All adults, if you think you never get angry, let me tell you something. All adults get angry, and we get angry several times a day. Many, 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 many times a day. Now, it doesn't have to be big and boisterous and bold and ugly angry. It's just a lot of the little piss me offs in life, right? Like traffic. A lot of traffic piss me offs, right? A lot of work annoyances. A lot of, somebody saying the wrong thing. Somebody, my girlfriend and I, Sally has had weight loss surgery. Sally became an alcoholic. Sally went, she's gotten help for it. She's in therapy. Sally is fine with me using her as an example many, many times. But I was talking to her today as I drove to Atlanta for a good solid 2 hours. And we were talking about how, we all have sensitivities, areas that we don't like to have poked because, we feel embarrassed or we feel frightened or we feel ashamed or we feel whatever it is we feel. And here's the thing, it's hard to have relationships in life because if there are 10 people and I say something, it's going to annoy somebody, it's going to hurt somebody's feelings, it's going to piss somebody else off because they come from wherever they come from. So my intention is certainly not to annoy, piss off, hurt, but it's going to happen, right? So we all have vulnerabilities. We all have feelings. So why do we pretend like we don't? Or why do we pretend like we don't need help? So this third part of the protection plan is to learn to identify your well-being needs. Now, what do I mean by well-being needs? I'm gonna list some things here, all right? And just listen. And if you start to think to yourself, oh, it's okay for other people, but not for me, knock yourself in the head, okay? Just clunk yourself in the head and say, I fall into the same category of humanity as the rest of the people I know, which means I have the same well-being needs. This goes for children as well as adults. So I don't care what your age is. This is humanity. So we all need to be accepted, right? Why do you think we all want to be in the popular crowd when we're in high school? Why do we need friends to begin with? We all need to feel like we fit in somewhere. And how many of us, because of the shame we've carried through so much of our lives and that feeling that we're not good enough, don't feel like we fit in, don't feel like we're accepted places. That's something we can work on and really truly overcome. But we all, every single one of us has a need to be accepted. And underneath that category of needing to be accepted are words like being acknowledged. We all need to be acknowledged for our effort, for our existence, for the input we share. We all need to be admired for something. Maybe you're a good writer. Maybe you have good verbal skills. Maybe you can draw well. Maybe you're an excellent organizer. Maybe you can deal with a whole group of children at one time, whereas most of us cannot. Maybe you are really good at, sewing or decorating or gardening. We all need to be admired for something. We need to be appreciated. We need to hear once in a while, you know what? I appreciate that you did that. I am so grateful that you took the time to call me. I really appreciate you sending me that note. I appreciate you taking the time to hold the door for me. We all need that. And again, if you're resisting this, you're fooling yourself. So look in the mirror and say, it's okay for me to be human, because I am. We all need to be approved of. Now, this doesn't mean all the time, because if we need to be accepted and admired and, acknowledged and approved of 100% of the time, it's a really good sign that we're running on an empty well. It means we're pretty depleted on the inside. That's not good. But it's normal to have all of these needs at some time. We all need to be cared about and cared for. Sometimes we need to be the one receiving the care, not just giving the care. We all need to be challenged, right? We all need to have somebody in our life that says, I hear you making a lot of excuses for why you're not working out. Or I hear you giving yourself a lot of permission to eat things you've told me are not on your healthy eating plan. We all need people to challenge us in that way. Not just those ways, but also that's why we hire trainers. You think you can only do 3 squats? Let me see you do 1 more. Or we need to be challenged intellectually. You did a great job on that last presentation. I'm going to give you one that's a little more difficult, and I want to see what you can do that because I believe in you. So we all need to be challenged. We all need to feel competent, like we're good at something. And you need to be able to say it to yourself. You're good at something. Like I just named all those things, right? You are good at something. And true humility means I'm able to say things I'm good at as well as things that are not my strengths. So it's being able to acknowledge both. We all need to feel confident about something. We all need to be able to feel forgiven. We all need to feel fulfilled in some way. We all need to feel heard. This is a big one. Sometimes we mistake feeling heard for people agreeing with us. This used to be a big problem in my marriage, right? Because I thought my husband needed to agree with me. I thought that's what would happen if I was being heard. Big mistake. I was mistaken. I needed to be right is what was going on there. So over the years, through a lot of therapy and a lot of self-exploration and a lot of education, I've learned the difference between hearing from him, this is what I hear you saying. And then he's clarifying. And he may say to me, I hear what you're saying and I understand. I don't agree with that. So I had to learn the difference. So I was heard, right? But we all need to be heard. So if you're not being heard, first of all, check yourself. Do you need to be heard and somebody understand and validate what you're saying? Or do you need to be right? Because that's different than being heard. We all need some feeling of importance to somebody and something. We all need to feel in control of some things in our lives. We all need to feel listened to. We definitely all need to feel loved. We need to feel safe. We need to feel like we're supported. We need to have people who are cheerleaders at times. We need to feel trusted in some ways. We need to feel understood, valued. We need to feel like we have worth. There are all these needs that all healthy human beings have. So when you get your worksheet, it's going to be on identifying your well-being needs. And this is where the feelings and the well-being comes in, okay? So if you're triggered to eat something, if you're going for that automatic eating, if you're able to stop and say, how am I feeling? And remember, we started with feelings, making them very simple. Mad, sad, glad, scared. Try to just identify how you're feeling. And that is a process in and of itself, right? Because a lot of us are so shut off from our feelings. We don't know our head from our toenail. We don't know sad from scared. So we have to learn what we feel and how we feel and where in our bodies we feel those things. But when you're reaching for food, if we can just pause and have that awareness and say, how am I feeling? How am I feeling? I'm feeling angry. What do I need? What is my well-being need? So if I'm feeling angry, for example, with my husband, maybe I'm not feeling heard. So I have the awareness of the feeling. I identify the well-being need. So we have to have all these things in line, right? I'm feeling scared. I need to feel comforted. I'm feeling sad. I need to feel, maybe I'm feeling sad because I'm feeling rejected. So I need to feel accepted. I'm feeling mad, sad, glad, scared. I'm feeling scared. Maybe I'm not feeling trusted, or I'm scared. I need to feel trusted. So when we identify our feelings, the next step is to identify our well-being needs. And then the last step, which we'll do next week, is to identify our options for getting those needs met. Here's the theory, and it's true in practice as well, but you have to get all these parts down, right? When we can stop long enough to say, how am I feeling, instead of going automatically to the food and trying to numb those feelings by depressing them with food. It's like we swallow them down. We swallow our feelings because we don't want to feel them. So give yourself permission to feel, and then we're going to learn to get our well-being needs met, and not with food. Because those things food does not ever take care of our well-being needs unless it's physical hunger, right? So what a lot of people have been doing, and what a lot of people do with food addiction, is numb themselves with food because they're not aware of their feelings, nor are they aware of their well-being needs. So this is a really lifelong process, but we're setting you up for protection, right? So this step is going to be learning to identify your well-being needs. So the worksheet is going to be designed to help you recognize what well-being needs you have most often, because most of us have, we have themes in our lives. One of my themes really is to be heard. I need to feel like I'm heard. And I've learned the difference between needing to feel heard and needing people to agree with me. but being heard is really important to me. And I think that's important for a lot of us because a lot of us don't feel like we've had a voice. We felt cut off. We felt like our opinions haven't mattered. So learning to feel heard is really important. We don't have to go to food because we don't feel heard. We don't have to go to food because we don't feel appreciated. We don't have to go to food because we don't feel acknowledged. So, long process, right? Our feelings, identifying them is very hard, Terry, you're right. I haven't been keeping track of a lot of the comments because I've been so busy looking at my notes. But I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to tell you some of the movies I watched in case you haven't seen them. So the first one I watched was, I don't remember the name of it, but it's about Ray Kroc. Is that it? Roy Kroc, guy who is credited with starting McDonald's. It's the McDonald's story, how it got started. Well, that was really good. That guy was a nasty guy. And he stole that idea from the people who originally really started McDonald's. But it's a great movie. The next movie I watched was on the guy who did the big Ponzi scam like 10 or 12 years ago. What was his name? Oh my goodness. What was it? Anyway, that was really good too. The guy on Wall Street. What was his name? Somebody help me out. It was good. And the name of that movie was The Wizard of Lies. That was really good. One of the other ones I watched, was I, Tonya, the Tonya Harding story. I really enjoyed that too. And then I watched one called The Descendants. Yeah, Bernie Madoff. That was it. Bernie Madoff. That was it. That was a good movie. The Wizard of Lies. Oof, sad. The George Clooney movie called Descendants. That was really good too. And then the last one I watched was a silly romantic comedy, which I go for every time. And it was called Blended. It was not Goldie Hawn. It was Drew Barrymore and Adam Sandler. Totally cute. All right. So if you want to watch a movie, don't binge watch 5 of them unless you're on an airplane because that is just hiding from life. But enjoy them. So I've got a lot of work to do tonight. I've got to write a blog post about freedom from food. And then I have to do your worksheet. And then I have to pack because I'm going to WLSFA tomorrow, Weight Loss Surgery Foundation of America in San Antonio. So I'm sure we'll be live from there. Yeah, okay. I'm going to see Laura Preston there, which is really cool. And I'm looking forward to that. And Laura Van Tile. Don't think Kelly's going. Dawn will be there. So we will be checking in with everybody. Thanks for your extra time tonight. This is one you might have to go back and watch and listen to again. And please let your friends know about it because there's a lot to learn here. All right. I will see you next week when we will complete this plan, this protection plan. All right. Then you're going to put it on your phone and have it with you wherever you go. All right, my friends. Nadia, you're going to be in San Antonio. Yeehaw. Okay, I will see you there. That'll be super fun. All right, guys, thank you so much for spending your time with me. Thank you so much for working on you. I'm going to keep working on me. And together, we're going to have happier lives than most of the people we know because we're working on ourselves. And we're working hard and we're going to live fully. So I'll see you all soon. Take care. Make it a good night. And I'll talk to you later. Good night.